All right, let's get started. So welcome. You're here for the future teacher orientation. This is specifically for transfer students. So if you're not a transfer student, this might not be as helpful for you if you're in this session. But again, welcome. We're going to get started today by going over our agenda so you know what to expect for this presentation. So today we're going to share a little bit more about our programs and services that we offer through the Center for Careers in Teaching, requirements to become a future teacher, and what to do next to prepare for fall. And at the end, we're going to have a Q&A so you can ask us any questions that you have or need us to clarify anything for you that was covered in the presentation. And then again, I know we've said this a bunch already, but please sign in. This is a way for us to track who was here today at this presentation, but also to connect with you for future presentations offered through the center. And this presentation will be about an hour long. We have a lot of great information to share with you today, and we don't want you to spend a lot of time trying to catch it all and write it down as we're presenting it to you. So we've created a Google Drive that we're going to drop into the chat shortly for you. And it has resources in there that we'll be talking about today in today's presentation. Also afterwards, the slides will be in there too, so you can come back and look at these, and many of the slides have links on them, so you can click right on the slide to view the website we're sharing with you. So a lot of good stuff on that Google Doc, so definitely save this link that we're sharing with you so that you can look back at some of the things we're going to share with you in this presentation. Our team. So we'll start off first with our student assistant.
Hi everyone, my name is Kimberly Ho. I'm the student assistant here. Thank you all for coming. It's great to see you all.
Hi there, I'm Heather Terry. I'm one of the advisors in the Center for Careers in Teaching. We're so glad to have you all here, and welcome to Cal State Fullerton.
And I'm Jennifer Robles. I'll be presenting this session today. I'm one of the advisors in the center as well.
Hi everyone, I'm Jack Calabrese. I'm yet another advisor in the Center for Careers in Teaching. Happy Friday, and thank you so much for joining us today.
And then last, our little picture there in the corner right is our director, Amy Nelson. We also have a new advisor starting next week that I'm sure you'll get to meet soon. But this is your team at the Center for Careers in Teaching, and we just again want to welcome you to Cal State Fullerton, and thank you for being here today. So we'll begin the presentation by telling you a little bit about what the Center for Careers in Teaching is and the services we provide. So here at the center, we will be able to provide you with GE, so that's General Ed and Teacher Pathway Advising for future teachers. We'll be able to inform you on current California credential preparation requirements, as well as specific requirements for Cal State Fullerton's credential program. And we've also on this slide included our website, which has a lot of great information on there. If you'd like to visit it, it's included on this slide. And we'd like to encourage you to follow our Instagram account that we're really active on. We share a lot of good resources. So it's a good way to know what's going on in the center or any updates for you as future teachers. So it's at CSUF_CCT. Definitely give us a follow. And then as we've been virtual for so long, I also want to remind you we're an actual physical space on campus that hopefully at some point in the fall you'll be able to visit. We're in the education classroom building on the 3rd floor, and the Center for Careers in Teaching really serves as a study place for you, or a place just to relax and hang out with your other fellow future teachers. It's not huge, but it's a little room where you can study with some computers that we have, printing. We have a library up there. Or a small library for test prep, and also our offices for advising are up there too. So we look forward to welcoming you to our center when we are able to do so. Next up, we want to make sure that we clarify the different types of advising at Cal State Fullerton, especially for US transfer students. I know that you are used to going to one counseling center, and that counseling center with that counselor can kind of guide you on everything. But you're going to have a couple places to get your advising from, and that you should get advising from while you're here at Cal State Fullerton. So we want to make sure you understand the differences in what we do. So first of all, the Center for Careers in Teaching, we're the undergraduate center for all future teachers, but it complements your major advising. We are not major advisors. So like I said previously, we can help you with GE advising and teacher preparation requirements, but we don't advise on your major requirements. We would like to meet with you at least once a semester to make sure you're aware of all your teacher prep requirements and helping you plan and guide you through them. But on the flip side of that, your major advisors, their role is to ensure you're completing your course requirements for your degree. And so you should meet with your major advisor at least once a semester also. And if you're not sure how to make an appointment with them, you can visit your department page for your major. And normally you'll find that information right at the top. There's usually a section that says advising, or you can find it under a current student tab. But definitely make sure you know how to do that and that you understand that these are the functions that we serve different purposes, but we're both here to help you. One, to help you make sure you're meeting your degree requirements, the other, your teacher prep. We'll next discuss some special programs we have for future teachers at Cal State Fullerton, starting with Titan Future Teachers. This is our community of future educators on campus. And so the meetings that we have, they serve to help you not only connect with your fellow future teachers, build community, but help you be better prepared for the credential program, learn how to advocate for other students. And so we'd like to invite you to our new member kickoff that we're having in August on the 13th. So if you're interested in being a part of this community and getting connected to all this great resources and starting to make new friends and all that good stuff, definitely join us for the kickoff. We have an Instagram account for Titan Future Teacher too. It's at CSUF_TFT. Follow us. That's a great way to get any updates about the kickoff. As we have more details and begin to plan for it, we'll be able to post that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely join us on the 13th. Follow us on our Instagram account to get the latest information about any of our updates, but also to see a little bit what Titan Future Teacher is all about. You can look at our past posts and see what we've been up to in the past semester. Next, we have Men of Color in Education, and this programming is a little bit more specific. It's actually a community for our African American and Latino male future educators. And again, it's also here to serve the purpose of helping this community come together. There's not very many men of color in education, and so we're hoping to support this community by building this programming to help them do that. So workshops are also offered through this programming. They're usually held monthly. And we also have a class called Read 360. It's literacy education for social change. We've included the information about this class too, in case you're interested. It's open to anybody, but it is kind of tied to this programming. So if that's something you're interested in, you may want to take a look at that. And there's also an Instagram page for our MCE programming that we would encourage you to follow also, so that when we announce our first meeting of the semester, you can join us for that. And then lastly, we have SCTA, which is our Student California Teaching Association or Teachers Association. And this is our student-led programming. So the other two programs that I mentioned are ran by staff from the Center for Careers in Teaching, but this is your student organization. So if you're interested, again, with connecting with fellow future teachers, learning more about the CTA, which is the union for teachers that you'll likely be a part of when you're in the field. This is a great way to do that. You can attend conferences and workshops that are geared towards, professional development. There's social activities. And if you're interested in that, the link here is to Titan Link, where you can see their page and learn a little bit more about them and join if you would like. And they also have an Instagram page we have on the slide too that you can take a look at, so you can learn a little bit more about them. So we'll now get started with our teacher pathway. This first slide here is a very simplified breakdown of what your pathway to teaching is going to look like. So it shows you exactly what you need to become a teacher in California. So firstly, you will need a bachelor's degree. And an important note to make here is you can major in anything. There's not a required major for the teaching credential program or to be a teacher. There's not an education major. There's not a teaching major. You can major in anything. And then the next step would be, after earning your bachelor's degree, completing the credential program, earning your credential. And with these two things, you are able to teach in the state of California. Next, what are the credential programs? So this is what we offer here at Cal State Fullerton. First, our credential program is a 2-semester program following the bachelor's degree. So like I mentioned earlier, you're going to complete that bachelor's degree. And then after you've graduated, you will start the credential program. And the credential program includes pedagogy, which is the study of how to teach, and student teaching. The 3 programs that we offer at Cal State Fullerton are the multiple subject credential program, which is for those who are interested in teaching elementary school. We also offer the single subject credential program for those interested in middle and high school. And then special education, that's for all grade levels, and it covers birth through 22 classrooms based on a disability specialty. So although I said there's not a required major, we do have some recommendations for majors for those who are interested in teaching. So we wanted to share those with you. And so for multiple subject, we recommend these majors, which are child and adolescent studies, liberal studies, and human services. These three majors have an elementary education track or concentration. So they really set you up nicely for that next step into the credential program. Again, not required for you to do these majors. So if you're not in one of these, don't worry. But they are a great major for that goal of being an elementary teacher. Next, with single subject, you want to choose a major that aligns with the subject that you plan to teach. That makes the most sense. So if you're planning to teach science, you want to major in that science that you want to teach. If it's biology, major in biology. If it's English, major in English. Again, you don't have to major in the subject you're planning to teach, but it's going to make the most sense for you to do so. And then lastly, with special education, this one's a little bit different. There's not a special education major, so we still recommend the three majors that we listed above for multiple subject if you're planning to work in a special ed elementary classroom. And if you're planning to teach older children, we still recommend that you, and you want to teach junior high or high school, we still recommend that you major in the subject you plan to teach, even if you're still wanting to work in a special ed classroom. So the preparation for special education, that really begins with the prerequisite courses that you'll need to take for the credential program, and then we'll continue on during the credential program. So if you're interested in any of these majors, you can always take a look at the university catalog. We've included the link to that on this slide, and you can learn about them a little bit more and maybe decide if you want to make a change, or maybe you're really happy with what you've settled on, and that's good too. So again, no required major. So don't feel the need to make a change if you're not one of these majors here. Next up, this slide continues our talk about future teacher preparation, but we break it down a little bit further. And so this slide includes the requirements that you can complete before you graduate. So the first one is the basic skills requirement. The next one is subject matter competency. And the third one is credential program prerequisite courses. And the next slide, I'm going to explain those a little bit more closely. And with that, I want to say that our advisors in the center, we can help you navigate these requirements and make sure that you're going to be meeting them and ready for the credential program. So let's talk a little bit about the basic skills requirement. So what that means basically is you need to demonstrate you have basic skills, or that you're proficient in basic reading, writing, and math. And there's several ways to do that. You've probably heard of the CBEST, or if you haven't, that's why we're talking about it here today. It's something you can start thinking about already, but to satisfy the basic skills requirement, there's several different ways to do that. Some of those ways are the SAT or ACT, but there's more. There's actually 8 different ways. And in the Google Drive, we have a handout that has a little chart about what the basic skills requirement is, and then the 8 different ways you can satisfy them. So we encourage you to take a look at that document, because if you've done one of those exams, you may not need to take the CBEST. You might have already satisfied the basic skills requirement with one of those exams. So definitely check that out. And so that's why we say now is really a good time to take a look into this. The summer is a really great opportunity to take the CBEST if you need it. So definitely check out our Google Drive for that information, and start making your plan for satisfying the basic skills requirement if you need to. Next up is subject matter preparation. And so what this means is you need to demonstrate that you know the subject that you plan to teach. And that can be accomplished in one of 2 ways. So for all subjects, you have the option of passing an exam called the CSET, or California Subject Examinations for Teachers. There is a second option too. It's not available for all our subjects, but we have it listed here. And it's to complete a subject matter preparation program, which is a sequence of courses that can be combined with your major. So you can see the list of courses we currently have that available for. One of the newer SMPP plans that we have, or it's now referred to EMS for this program, is our multiple subjects plan, and that is actually tied to our child and adolescent studies and liberal studies major. So if you went to orientation for your major, which hopefully you have at this point, that's something they might have talked about a little bit in their presentation. So you probably learned about the courses then that would be offered through that, or for that, I should say. And then to explain a little bit more what the subject matter preparation program is, it's an approved list of courses in your subject area that if you take them and pass them with a C or better, that's how you demonstrate you know what you need to teach. And by doing so, you do not have to take the CSET. So sometimes people even call the SMPP a CSET waiver, because if you complete it, no CSET for you. And it's great because the CSET is a big, challenging exam. So a lot of students are very happy to see they have this additional option for their subject. You may have completed some of the lower division GE requirements on the SMPP plans at your community college. And in particular for English, social science, and math, we have some charts where you can take a look to see what those classes are. So if you visit our website, and it's also in our Google Drive, you can take a look at that list and see, the progress you've made towards those SMPPs with those lists right there. And if you want to learn more on our website, this is a snapshot of what it looks like and where to find it. So under our advising tab, you would click there. In the dropdown, you would click on subject matter preparation program. And then you'd get the screen that has information about it, and then all the different plans that we have to offer. And there's a little snapshot there at the bottom that has those little charts I was telling you about for math, English, and social science. Next, we talked about prerequisites are also required for the credential program. And so we've included a snapshot here of our credential program fact sheet, which has all the admissions requirements for the credential program. And you can see that each different credential program has its own set of prerequisite courses that must be taken before you start. So these are courses that you can already start including in your fall 21 schedule. So we wanted to bring those to your attention now. And also this is something that you can find in the Google Drive and on our website. You might want to take a look at that as you're choosing classes for next semester. Hopefully, registering for classes at this point, but if you haven't, or even if you have, this is still good information we want to share with you. So we're going to talk about preparing for registration and the road to graduation in these next few slides. So first of all, how many classes should I take? So we have this breakdown for you. I want to remind you of a couple of things. So first of all, you need a minimum of 120 units to graduate. Some degrees require more, but for the most part, it's a minimum of 120 units. And we have a little chart here that breaks it down a little bit further for you so you can kind of see what that path will look like. So 1 unit of instruction, or 1 hour equals 1 unit of instruction. So when you're taking a 3-unit class, you're going to be doing about 3 hours of instruction. If your goal is to graduate in 2 years, 30 units a year needs to be completed, and the year can include winter and summer terms as well. But if you're breaking it down even further, we're just talking fall and spring, that means 15 units in your fall and spring semester. If you're thinking, wow, that sounds like a lot of classes, that's not normally what I take, I have to work, I have other things to do. If you plan to do 4 classes a semester, or 12 units, so a total of 24 units a year, that means it would take a little longer to graduate. It'll be 2.5 years instead. So do what feels best for you. Maybe you're ready for 5 classes. Maybe that sounds like way too much, but do what's going to be best for you. This next slide breaks down how we get to this 120 units to graduation a little bit further. So we'll start with that bottom bubble here in the corner. So for general education, you complete about 48 to 49 units, and this is what you have completed at your community college. You have completed a majority of your GE units there. You still have some upper division GE units to complete, but for the most part, you've completed general ed units. Next, in that top bubble is your major units, and that can be anywhere from 36 to 70 units. So in most cases, though, the major units hover around the 50 unit mark. So when putting together the 48 to 49 units of GE and roughly 50 units of major, that doesn't necessarily equate to 120 units. So that's where this third bubble comes in. So you may have about 18, 24 units to complete that you can do maybe as a minor, or maybe you just take some elective units and, experience some other side of your major. But as advisors, we can help you navigate how to fill those classes. Also, as I mentioned in the previous slides, you have prerequisites for the program and will serve as elective units that will count as well. So that's what your breakdown looks like. So I remind you that you are not done with general ed just yet. All students must complete at least 9 units of approved upper division GE courses at State Fullerton. And so this applies to you, and if you are GE certified, IGETSU certified, earned your AA, have these upper division courses. These are 300 level GE courses that you could not have completed at community college. So all transfer students come in units. So that's something AE's left to do. We also wanted to take a moment to point out something on your Title 10 additional graduation requirement. It's your American government requirement. Now, you've likely fulfilled this requirement. Just in case you haven't, you point out located on the T doesn't fall right underneath those GE requirements, actually much further down on the TDA requirement. So just make sure you fulfill that requirement. You most likely have, but just wanted to make sure you didn't forget this. That's kind of in the bottom there. Might even turned in AP credit. Also, we want to remind you that the American government requirement for future teachers, you would need to have passed this course with a C or better. Probably received an email about this either yesterday or maybe even today, but it's an update regarding area studies requirement. So do like your change, not course. So if you've already registered for classes and you selected a course to fulfill area F, you want to remove that because it's just, again, further details about the change to come in your email if you haven't already got it. And I don't know if Jack, if you want to add anything to this slide as well.
Just a little bit of explanation, everyone. A catalog year refers to the requirements that you have to uphold as a student. Get your degree. So this new in at the state level and implemented this incoming transfer students, all of you. Let's hold off on making this requirement, on imposing it on this new transfer. All of you. So this is a good thing, and it looks like hard, scary. We're just graduation requirements. So if you are seeing on your TDA, as Jen has already explained, that if in area F you chose a class specifically for fulfillment of area GE area F, you'll want to drop that ASAP. That you need that area can get the courses that they need. So it's kind of confusing, even though it's a lot of change all at once.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, we'll be here at the end if you have anything you want to add to as far as questions. Let's move on to our next slide here. So we're here to help you understand it and navigate it better. So first of all, if you haven't registered for classes, we also want to make sure that you're not registering for anything that sounds like something you've already taken, especially as it takes time for your transcripts to get to us and for your TDAs to be updated and evaluated. If you feel like you're enrolling in something that you might have already taken at your community college, just avoid it. You don't want to end up taking something you've already earned credit for. You won't get double credit for it. So just think about that as you're registering. Registration started already. It started on the 14th. If you haven't looked, you should start looking for classes. So let's now dig into the TDA a little bit more. So let's first talk about what it is. So it's a live document that tracks your progress towards graduation. It includes all your general education requirements, your major requirements, and any other graduation requirements you have on there. And so to find this document, you will log onto your Student Center, and that's what we have a little snapshot up here at the top. There's an icon right here that says Titan Degree Audit and Planner. Click on it and you'll be able to run an audit. And this is the page here. This is the HTML format version of it. Here's a little snapshot of what it looks like. So definitely find it. It's very valuable for you, especially as you're registering for your courses. You want to have this nearby. So this TDA, it helps keep progress of, you want to check your Titan Degree Audit before and after you register for classes. It's a live document. So if you register for classes today and then you run a new TDA, you'll already see those classes added to your TDA and the requirements that they're fulfilling and at your class schedule at the bottom. TDA is an automatic system. It reads your community college transcripts and sorts those classes into various. As you take courses at Cal State Fullerton, those courses will appear on your degree audit. And you want to make sure you're using this resource to help you stay on track and avoid any surprises as you approach graduation. So check it regularly and frequently. And then last, if you see anything that doesn't look right or something's missing, definitely let us know. You can see one of us after your first semester. Let us know if you see something inaccurate, just because, as I mentioned earlier, it takes a while for them to update and fully evaluate your transcript. So we want to wait till it says complete before we reach out to them with any inaccuracies. It just may be that they haven't finished your update on your TDA yet. So the next slide, we show you a little bit about the symbols that you'll be seeing on the TDA. It's pretty straightforward, but we just want to show you exactly what you should be looking for when you're opening up your TDA. So when you receive a blue check mark next to a course, that means you have fulfilled that requirement. So for example, in this snapshot here, the student has completed a C1 and C2 course as indicated by the blue check mark. The box with the X in it, it indicates that a course has not yet been fulfilled. And so that's what you see here in the corner for C3, although there is a class here, but because it's in progress, which that's what the IP stands for, they have not received that blue check mark yet. But once the class is over, they hopefully successfully pass the class, they'll also see a blue check mark when they run a new TDA after the grades have been posted. So that's what you'll be using to kind of guide you through your requirements and making sure you're completing all of them. And I touched on this a little bit, but the transcript evaluation status is going to say incomplete on your TDA probably for a while. And so we included a snapshot right here. And it's nothing to be concerned about. This is really, really normal. It might even still be that way once you start the fall semester. It just takes time for them to complete these evaluations. So let's see. Yeah, so until your evaluation is complete, it might not reflect all the on there. So just be aware of that. It does take time for that to happen. As you're navigating your TDA, you're going to see all your coursework from your community college, and then what class is the equivalent for it at Cal State Fullerton, and see what areas you fulfilled. So we have just a little snapshot here, and this is for someone who is in the Child and Adolescent Studies major. So those are the Cal State Fullerton classes there, and that's the coursework they took at their community college that fulfilled those requirements there. So you'll see that a few of you will have some credit equivalents for you. So next up, we're going to talk about preparing to register for classes and choosing course modality. So we're not fully back in person for fall, but I believe 65% of our classes will be offered in person. So that means there's still quite a few classes available to you online or as a hybrid format. So we want to bring to your attention how you can interpret the registration or the class schedule, I should say, so you know exactly what you're signing up for. So if you're registering for a class that's going to be offered in person, you're going to see it listed with, of course, a day and a time to meet, but it's also going to include a room space. So this first example shows what that looks like. If it's an online course, in the days and times, or in the room section, excuse me, you're going to see that it says web fully online instruction. So that is fully online class. Next up, for the hybrid courses, you're going to see a combination of things on there. So you are going to see that there's a day and time listed for meeting, and a classroom also where you would do the meeting, but you're also going to see that it says web hybrid. So that means you will be on campus sometimes, and you're also going to be doing coursework online from your computer as well. If you choose to do an online course, you should all be familiar with this, especially since for all of us, we've been in a very virtual world, but we just want to remind you that our synchronous classes, those are online classes that will have meeting times. So those are times you'll actually need to be at your computer for class. So here's an example of one right here. You can see the day and time. And then of course the room says it's web fully online. If you're doing an asynchronous class, online classes will be listed with a TBA under the days and times, and this means that you're not required to be present at a particular day and time for class instruction. So you will work pretty much at your own pace under the guidance of your professor. So choose the modality that works best for you, for your schedule, for your level of comfort at this time. We just want to make sure you know you have options when you're registering for classes and that you've read them carefully, because we don't want you to think you're in an online class when you actually have to be in campus. So know the difference and choose what's best for you. And then final announcements for registering for class this fall. We also want to talk about how important it is to be aware of important dates, like when you drop and withdrawal. You have quite a few weeks at the community college to decide if you want to withdraw or drop from a class, but that's not the case at Cal State Fullerton. That date comes up actually rather quickly. So we've included a snapshot of that date right here. It's actually September 7th. That's the last day to drop without a grade of a W. But beyond that, after the second week, really, there has to be special circumstances for you to be able to be granted that drop or withdrawal. So if you want to learn more about that and what that process looks like, we've included the link here that has more information about withdrawals after the second week of the semester. And then this slide just has a lot of helpful resources for you to refer back to, the first one being the orientation website. Definitely take a look at that to make sure you've completed all the steps. If you haven't submitted transcripts yet, you actually have until July 15th to do that. But if you don't know how to do that, the link here shows you information about how to do that. The registration guide is really nice because it has all the important dates on there that you'll want to be aware of. And again, we just want to remind you to pay attention to these dates and don't just stop attending classes. If something happens, follow the correct process for withdrawing or dropping from a class. And then just some calendars on here, the link to your student success team. And then we just want to remind you how important it is to check your Cal State Fullerton email. You really aren't receiving any communication through your personal email at this point. It's all going to that Cal State Fullerton email that can be accessed in your Student Center portal. So please make sure you're checking that to make sure you're getting all the updates about Fall 21 and any orientation activities. And also be sure to check your junk folder when you're doing so, because sometimes messages end up in that folder and we don't want you to miss anything. Next up, let's talk about returning to campus. So staff is planning to return to campus on August 2nd. However, there still may be some restrictions in place for campus visitors. So it's still not a solid situation. I think things can change. So if you want to know the most up-to-date information about what's happening in regards to our return to campus, we have our website listed there for all the updates. And the CCT advising services will remain virtual until the fall semester begins. And then we hope to look at some point in the fall, be able to invite you to see us in our offices in person and in our center, but we'll remain virtual over the summer. And we want to remind you that around October, it's a great time to make an appointment with us because right around that time, you'll be getting your registration date for spring. So if you want to have a chat with us and help you, get your plan ready for spring, we'd be happy to meet with you. So you might want to save this date on your calendar as a reminder that you should make an appointment with us so we can help you prepare for spring. And then lastly, we just want to remind you, we are here to help. And here's some ways that you can connect with us. So if you have any questions, you can schedule an appointment with us on the Center for Careers and Teaching website. We have the information about how to do that. We're on TitanNet. That's how you can schedule your appointment with us. So although I just said, October, that's a great time to make an appointment with us. We're here through the summer and you can make an appointment with us anytime. We're available year round. So don't hesitate to do that if you have questions. And as I mentioned, TitanNet is the way to do it. You can see the instructions on our website that has very detailed steps on how to do it. And then lastly, if you just have a general question you want to shoot us, we have our Ask CCT account, or you can give us a call. And then come see us in EC 379 once our campus reopens and we're able to have you. So again, a reminder to follow all of our Instagram accounts that we have. It's a great way to stay in touch, get good updates, and just have fun with other students too. And we just want to address a couple questions we've got over these last presentations about the orientation steps. So we just want to remind you to visit the orientation page if you haven't already. I hope you have done your online orientation already, watched the GE videos, and done your third step, which is the major advising session. Many of the major advising sessions have passed already. So if you missed it, we would definitely encourage you to reach out to your major department to find out what your next steps are. So definitely take a look at your email too, if you're looking for a contact, because a lot of the departments also email their students with their orientation information. So we definitely don't want you to miss out on any of that good information that your major put together. So definitely reach out to them if you missed it. And then also, if you're thinking, I really think I want to get this CBEST done over the summer, and you want to start looking into preparing for it and registering for it, here are the links right now. We have free study materials on our website. You can see them on the CTC website also. Or if you just want to go to that Google Doc to look at the document to see if maybe you've met the requirement already. Like I said, this is definitely something that can be accomplished over the summer if you want to. So those links are there for you to check out later also. And that's it. We want to thank you and welcome you to Cal State Fullerton.